In this lesson, we're going to talk about level versus class blueprints, and we're also going to define the difference between an object and a class, because understanding these can be really helpful for future productivity. Up till now, we've had this slide on best practices, functions and macros, but now the difference between a level blueprint and blueprint class is that the level blueprint is just a specialized blueprint class that's globally accessible from your level. However, now that we're starting to use blueprint classes, you'll start to see a lot of differentiation between these different classes. They can hold a lot or a little bit of information. Actor classes can hold very little, same thing with game modes, and they can be used for specialized different functions as well. So game modes set up your game. They can even talk between each other, right? A pawn can receive information from the player controller class. And also, now objects versus classes. Besides just being purple and blue variables, an object holds an asset with properties that you might want to set. And also, it's the parent of a class. The class, if it doesn't exist in a scene and you want to spawn it, that's a good reminder that you'd want a class variable. What is spawning? It's the process of creating a new instance of an actor inside of your level. Objects hold the information that you might want to set. And that's really what I want you to get out of this. So let's get started. All right, we're in Unreal. I'm going to hit play. And I've created this box here that every time we go into the box, it spawns a physics cube. Well, it's a cube with physics properties turned on. And every time it does that, it also remembers where it put the last one and it spawns it in offsets. Now, I want to show off the code that was needed in order to have this happen, and then also illustrate the difference between creating a blueprint class that we can spawn, or something in this case that's an actor and an actor component outside of that. We also can review a few variables as well. So here is the BP spawner, the blueprint spawner that I built. Let's take a look at what happens. So when the level is launched, at begin play, there's the scene component. So we haven't used those before. A scene component is just something that you can put inside of a class that contains location, rotation, scale information. And so I'm using that in order to query the world location of the object. And I'm doing that in two ways. I'm getting the world location, which is, do you remember? It's a vector variable, that's yellow. And then the world transform, which is an orange variable, and that's got 3 vectors in it. What are the 3 vectors? It's got the location vector, which is XYZ coordinates. It's got the rotation vector, and it's got a scale vector. It's just chunked variables. And so I just wanted to refresh from earlier. And then the next step is simply a collision box. And when you overlap that collision box, we are spawning an actor. Now you can see there's this purple input here, and this is the object that it's referencing. And so in order to get something to spawn, if we wanted to spawn something like a cube from our scene, we had to add a static mesh component from the actor class. So hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more. Some objects contain everything that you need, and that's kind of the difference that I wanted to illustrate in this example. So let's set that up. Also, I wanted to show off the variables here, refresh those, also talk about how to avoid things like infinite loops. Let's create a blueprint class. Okay, create an actor class. We'll call this BP spawnable. So we have the spawner and then we have the spawnable. And inside the spawnable, we'll create a cone. So we'll add a component and it'll be our static mesh. We'll say my mesh, and we could even put in a point light if we wanted. We don't want to have too many of these because they can get expensive if you have too many, but we keep the attenuation pretty low. That's fine. So what kind of mesh do we want to input? Well, let's put in our, like a cone. There we go. All right. So now that we've got a cone mesh that we can reference inside of an actor class, then, so here's our BP spawnable. Let's go back into the spawner and look at how to create that. So let's take this code. I'm just going to copy and paste it, so we can save a little bit of time here. Now, just going to pull these two out. So I'm going to right click and type spawn. Now I wanted to show off all the different spawning options. We have spawn all from class. You can spawn sounds. You can spawn emitters, which are particle systems. There's spawn system at location. There's spawn systems attached. There's get spawnables. So there's a lot of different options. You can see stuff from Niagara. All right, but we want to spawn actor from class. And just a reminder that we have both the transform output or the location. So it's looking for a spawn transform, and just a reminder, we can promote that to a variable or we can split that if we just wanted to input the location information. But since we've already got the transform, that's great. So what class are we going to input? Well, we just built a BP spawnable. So let's say BP spawnable. So great. That will work all by itself because the spawnable is its own class. It will generate one. So now we can go right to the delay and we can do the offset. Before we try this out, we need to make one quick tweak. There's a rule, you can only have one event overlap. And so when I copied and pasted it, created a custom event, which is not what we wanted. So I'm just going to take the one from above and bring it down and hook it into our new one. Let's try this out. Do this, and there we go. And now it's creating a cone. Every time we walk in here, it's creating a new cone. If we plugged in the other code, we could offset that information. So we could see those cones were showing up, but they weren't being offset. So we can split this pin, plug that into location. Great. We could use a loop if we wanted to spawn multiples, something like that. All right. The key things that I want you to get from this example is that the differences between the level blueprint class and different classes, and then also the object versus class variables. So in this case, I just want to point this out one last time and then we'll sign off. We're referencing an actor class. The actor class holds things like a static mesh is an actor class, right? Lights are actor classes. So hopefully that starts to gel in your brain, because it took me a while when I was just getting started in Unreal. Okay, great. That'll wrap things up. We'll see you in the next video.